If you ever have the opportunity to visit Jerusalem on a Christian tour, you will almost certainly walk along a crowded street called the Via Dolorosa. There's really no experience quite like it for a follower of Jesus. I'll never forget the first time I made this walk, and today I'd like to show you as much as I can of how the streets of Jerusalem can help us understand a little more about the crucifixion of Jesus. We'll also look at a story of a father and his sons who were forced to take part in the terrible walk Jesus took to the cross, and why that matters to us. But first, let's take a look at the Via Dolorosa. This walk can be a deeply emotional experience when you try to imagine what it would have been like for Jesus to walk through the city with a crossbeam on his back. Jesus was making his way to a gruesome-looking hill where criminals were put to death on a regular basis. When you take this walk, if it's a day when the street is crowded, that only adds to the emotional impact of walking the Via Dolorosa. But here's something every tour guide will tell you. The Via Dolorosa we see today is not the actual road Jesus walked upon as he made his way to Golgotha. The stones Jesus walked on, wherever those stones might be, are several feet below today's city streets. Let me show you what I mean. Not far from the Via Dolorosa, inside the Jewish quarter of the Old City, is an ancient street known as the Cardo. This street dates to the 1st century after Jesus lived, so Jesus never walked on this street either. But I love to bring people here just so they'll see how far below today's street level archaeologists had to dig in order to reach a street the Romans built 19 centuries ago. Like most other parts of the city, this part of Jerusalem has grown taller over the centuries. Every fire, every war, every earthquake that destroyed the city required a new generation to rebuild Jerusalem on top of the old ruins. That's why the 500-year-old street known as the Via Dolorosa cannot possibly be the actual street where Jesus walked on the day of his crucifixion 2,000 years ago. Even so, I'll say it again. It's an incredible experience. But the Via Dolorosa does not take Christian pilgrims to a place that looks like a skull either. Instead, your walk through the old city will eventually lead you to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, perhaps the oldest continuously operating church in the world. This church was built about 300 years after the crucifixion as a way to honor Christ, as a way to protect the ground where Jesus was executed. Unfortunately, the church buildings also completely covered the ground Mark and other eyewitnesses would have seen as they watched the terrible events play out on Good Friday. The church was built over a rock quarry that was at the time located just outside the walls of the city on its western side. There are lots of rock quarries in Jerusalem, for all of the buildings in the city, even today, are built using Jerusalem stone. Wood is in very short supply in Jerusalem, but stone is plentiful. If you want to see a really large ancient quarry in its natural setting, you'll find one near the Damascus Gate, about 5 minutes walk from the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Part of this quarry stretches far underneath the old city. The rest of the quarry is now covered by a modern street, homes, businesses, and a bus station. The edge of that ancient quarry is right behind the bus station. And the rocks there are obviously of such poor quality, it's no wonder why the stonemasons stopped removing stones at that point. But the ragged cliff that was left behind carries with it an image that looks a little like a skull. Now, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, when these photos were taken, it was much easier to see why an English general named Charles Gordon was convinced that this hill was the place where Jesus was crucified instead of at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Scholars disagree with Gordon's beliefs, and as far as I know, every one of them point to the land where the church stands as the actual place where Jesus was crucified. But Gordon's Calvary is indeed a better visual illustration of where Jesus was executed. So we'll use these images a lot as we go through Mark's description of the crucifixion. We've got more to do with the crucifixion story, but before we put a pause button on this lesson, I'd like to focus for a moment on the story of Simon of Cyrene. He's the man who carried the crossbeam of Jesus for a short distance. If Mark grew up in Jerusalem, it's almost certain that he watched the crucifixion of Jesus, even if he only watched from a distance or if he only watched for a short period of time. And we think Mark would have been a young man when all of this happened, maybe an older boy, maybe a teenager. Perhaps that's why he included the names of Simon's sons in his telling of the story. Alexander and Rufus, the boys, had only planned on joining their father for a joyful celebration. Instead, they watched their dad carry the cross of a condemned man through the streets of Jerusalem. And I think Mark would have resonated with the terror Simon's boys would have had while watching all of this. They may have been close to his age. So why is this human interest story important to us? Why is it even in the Bible? This is yet one more example of information in the Gospels that actually confirms the reality of the crucifixion. In a small way, this is one more evidence that Mark's Gospel is a reliable record of history. Frankly, if we had never known about Simon and his boys, nothing about this story would have lost its power. We would have still seen Jesus on the cross and comprehended what he had done for us. But this is real history, written down by real human beings who had real human emotions. Mark resonated with this dad and his sons, and he knew a lot of his readers would resonate with it, so he included the story even though it wasn't actually needed. That's what a person recording real history will do sometimes. That writer of history knows this will help us connect with the horrible events of the day when Jesus was nailed to a cross. The crucifixion is history. It really happened. But this is also an event that is intensely personal. The story of Simon and his sons help us understand that. Simon's life was forever changed because he carried the cross of Jesus. His sons never forgot the cross. And I pray that the cross has also had a life-changing impact on your life.